to start just seated, just to arrive. So, good morning. This is 60 minutes. A little bit more an active practice this morning than we've been doing during the past couple of days. So, go with the flow. Listen to your body, but that has two meanings. So, listening to the body is being respectful of any pains, injuries, or maybe just blockages. But at the same time, is also being respectful that our body can do sometimes a little bit more than we think it can. And but I'm putting the emphasis on thinking because the mind is very overpowering often. So just find a comfortable seat. So maybe you want to take the wrapping out of away from your bum. You can sit on your knees, you can sit on a chair, really finding a comfortable seat. So you find an elongation in the spine naturally. You feel that the breath can flow. Your hands can be on your thighs for now, not pressing with the hands. So we don't want to lean, we don't want to press. We just want to find comfort with the hands on the thighs. Now let's take a deep breath in and see if we can find a little bit more space in the spine, in the chest, in the belly. And then as we exhale, roll the shoulders back and shoulder blades down. So what's valid for every pose is of course also valid when we're sitting here. So we want to find that comfortable seat, but we don't want to continue searching for it for hours and hours and hours. So just make a few adjustments if necessary, and then be in the pose. So settling in so that we can start to feel within. So just taking a few breaths here. You can close or open your eyes. It's really up to you, but if you have your eyes open, don't look and name the thing that you're seeing. Just be very, very quiet with your gaze. Inhaling, exhaling. And then bring the hands a little bit higher onto your thighs. Roll the shoulders really back, the elbows back. And this time as you inhale, pressing the bum down, but lifting the spine up. So it's not lifting the shoulders up, the shoulders remain down, but we're gonna really wiggle ourselves and find a little bit more space. So you might feel some contraction in the belly. As we exhale, we wanna release that contraction again, but keep the length. Bring the arms to the side now, and then inhale, reach up. And again, you want to reach up one side, the other side. So to create some length, little movements in the upper body. And then place the palms together, interlace your fingers, turn the palms up. And again, we want to feel a little bit more move. We're not pressing into our feet and lifting up. Our bum is heavy, but we're finding space into the spine. Inhale, exhale, and then slowly release. Place the left hand on the floor, inhale, reach the right up, and then go all the way over to the left. Pressing the right bum, the right hip down. So you can press with your left hand into the floor to really press those hips back into the floor. And then with your next inhale, so really wait until you inhale, placing the right hand down, lifting the left, and then going over. So every inhale, we create a little bit more space. Every exhale, maybe we go a little bit further. And then again, with your next inhale, coming back up, placing the hands in the back, fingertips pointing back, and you on your fingertips, again, roll the shoulders back. This time, really press those shoulder blades together. Lift your chest, press into your fingers. Take a deep breath in and feel where your breath is able to move now. Most probably, it goes just into the chest. The belly is stretched out. Your head can just look forward or gently to the ceiling. Don't drop it back. And then slowly back. Hands in front of you. See if you can place them as close as possible to your feet, depending how you're seated. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, press into your hands, this time opening the back. Bring the shoulders forward, the chin to the chest, and rounding the spine. Feeling that stretch. Take another breath in and push your chin to your chest, maybe feeling a little bit more of an opening in the upper back, the trapezium muscles. And then slowly coming back up. Last one here. Let's inhale, reach the arms up, and then exhale, rotate towards the right. So left hand on the right thigh, right hand in the back, or if you're seated on something, you can put it on your support. Roll the right shoulder back. So the back shoulder is rolling back, lengthen your spine, and then exhale, turn a little more. You can add your gaze to the back. It's not necessary. Inhale, exhale. And then inhale, coming back up, and exhale to the other side. So finding space, exhaling, rotating. The more space we have between the vertebrae, the more place we have to rotate. So lengthening in the spine, and then as we exhale, we release the muscles. And then inhale, reaching back up, and exhale. Very slowly moving onto hands and knees. Placing the wrists underneath the shoulders, the knees are hip distance apart. And we're gonna start to make circles with the hips. So you can move really forward, just to give a little forward stretch to your wrists. So if your wrists are sensitive, don't go that much forward. Move your hips to the side, to the front, to the other side, and to the back. For now, my elbows stay straight. We're gonna add the elbows in a minute and then change direction. And now you can start to add the elbows, so bending, maybe rolling with your shoulders, maybe adding your head, just moving your spine. Imagine that you want to reach every single vertebra of your spine. And then let's come back to center. Place the hands a little bit more to the front. Come onto a plank onto your knees. Press into your hands. So we don't want to fall in between the shoulders. Activate your core. Take a breath in, lengthen your neck. And as you exhale, press into your hands. So I'm almost feeling resistance of pushing back. That's how much I have to press. And then I'm pushing my hips back, lengthening the spine. Inhaling back up. We'll do this for 3 more cycles of breath. Just warming up the joints of our wrist, shoulder, hips, and the knees. So if your knees are hurting, please put something underneath or don't go that far back. Let the breath guide you if possible. It really depends where you're at. And then let's stay with our hips pushing back. And this time, roll the eye of the elbow, so the inside of the elbow towards the sky, but continue pressing the thumb and the index into the floor. And then press your hips back. So we're finding that length without having the gravity of the seat. We're finding the length that we were looking for in our seated position. Another breath in. And a breath out. And then coming back to center, wrist underneath the shoulders. And we're gonna move a little bit more into the hip joint. So bring the left knee up. You create a 90-degree angle. The foot and the leg, the knee is 90 degrees, and the hip, in the hip, it's also a 90 degree. And then bring your knee towards your left knee, towards your left elbow, towards your right knee, and then up, straight up. And then another circle. And one more, and then we're going to reverse the direction. So when you're back to the side, you press back. This time elongate the leg, then bend the knee to bring it towards the right knee, and then come back and elongate the leg. One more time. And then coming back to center. Let's do the other side. So make sure you have squares, especially the foot is flexed to protect your knee. And then bring the right knee to the right elbow, left knee, and straight up, and then opening up for 3 times this direction. And then as we change, as you go back, stretch out your leg, then bend it, bring it to the elbow, and 2 more circles like this. And then both knees back down. So the knees are as wide as your hips. The wrists underneath the shoulders, press into your hands. And we want to keep the upper back quite lifted. So we're going to do cat and cow, but leaving from what they call the solar plexus, which is the part just underneath your breastbone. It's an energy center, but we always do cat and cow from tailbone up to the crown of the head. So see if you can start from that center point. So as you exhale, as if someone is pulling a rope up, like fold down with your tailbone and bring the chin to the chest. And then let the movement be guided by that center point. It's a little bit more thinking. So if you prefer to go to the traditional cat and cow and stay with the breath, it's really up to you. I find it interesting to sometimes we're doing the same movement, but our starting point, our view is different. In life, just moving a little bit and looking at it from a different point of view can help to see more clear. So continue, don't collapse into your shoulders as you inhale. So we want to keep the arms strong, the shoulders lifted. Let's do 3 more times. So it's less of a wavy situation here. And then coming back to center. Let's reach the right leg back, bring the toes down, press the right heel back. So you want to stretch out your leg. You're probably going to move your shoulders a little bit behind your wrist. By doing that, press your hands down and then come back, lift up the right leg, lift the left arm, palm on the inside. Press your right heel back. Your right leg is super, super active. Your core is active. You're looking down, no bend in the neck. Take a deep breath in and then exhale, bring the knee to the elbow and inhale. So very similar move than cat and cow, except we're in balance. So there's much more control from the core here. And then reaching forward again, bring the left arm to the left and the right leg to the right. So if this is too much for you, if you stop breathing, bring the big toe on the floor as a support. Continue breathing. And then reach the left arm back to the front, right leg back, bend your right knee, and then grab your foot, your ankle, your pants. If you can't reach any of that, place both feet on the floor and lift up. It's a different opening, but it's as good. So lift up the thigh, the right thigh, push your right foot away so that your left shoulder is opening. But your hips remain very parallel to the floor. So equal, one is not moving forward or back. One more breath here. And then release. Maybe you need a little break for your wrist. So come onto your knee, shake it out if necessary. And then coming back onto all fours. Bring the left foot back. For a moment, stretch out. So push your heel back. Feel that stretch from your hip, probably more in the calf muscles here. Strong arms, strong hands into the mat. And then move back forward. Lift your leg. Reach the right arm forward, palm on the inside. Find your stability. So if you're not too stable, you can always put your big toe on the floor, but don't lean into it. Or your right hand. And then exhale, bring the elbow to the knee, round your spine 3 times. And then reaching forward, this time right arm to the right, left leg to the left. Lift it up if you can, but continue breathing. It's a very deep work here, so we have to concentrate. And then coming back to the center, bend your left knee, grab your foot, your ankle, or just lift it up. You can look forward for this one, curving the spine, stretching the quads if you're holding onto your foot or your pants. Open your chest, open your right shoulder, and then release. Let's walk our hands back, come onto our toes. So we're on our knees, toes are flipped. And then you want to make sure that you keep your hips on top of your knees. So roll the tailbone down so that we create a little bit more space into the lower back without flattening the back. And then place your hands onto your lower back. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back. So my chest is really open. You can keep your head gazing forward or have the neck just follow the move. We are starting from the top of our spine. So from the top of our spine, we're going to lift the chest up, and automatically the top of our spine is going to start to bend backwards. So my lower back is still quite straight. And then slowly as we go back, the lower back is going to start to bend as well. So curving the spine or rounding, depending which way you're looking. Make sure you don't feel pain into the lower back. So if there is pain, come back, lower the tailbone. You can press with your hands onto your bum to keep that direction of the tailbone towards the knees. Press your hips forward. Feel what happens in the front of your legs. If you want, you can look up. Don't drop your head back too much weight. If you stop breathing, come back. It's probably, we don't know where we're going when we go backwards like this, so the breath will automatically stop. And then very slowly coming back. Untuck your toes and come and sit onto your heels. So just sit here, realigning the spine. Take a few breaths, maybe close your eyes and observe where you're at. And from here, so we're gonna lift up a little bit, separate the feet. So if your knees are very tight, you want to put something in between, or even you want to sit on a block here, a block or 2 blocks or 3 blocks. So we're going to lean over to the left side, grab your ankle with your right hand and lift it up. So we don't want to create any strange twist into our knee. And then we're going to extend the right leg forward. So if you're falling too much onto the right side, I would strongly suggest you take a pillow, you take a block so that you can sit equally onto both sides. My left foot is pointing out. If you have knee issues, or if this is like, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, definitely go sit fully a little bit higher so that you can feel comfortable. So it's not about trying to balance here. This is not a balance pose. It's a stretch pose. So from here with the knee to the back, So with the left foot to the back, the right foot to the front, we're going to place the hands in the back and we're going to slowly come onto our elbows. So when we have only one leg bent, this becomes a little bit more easy. However, we're going to start to press our left hip up. So also if you have an imbalance in the hips before we started, and so you decided not to sit on something, you might feel that you're going to fall over to the right side. So that's also why it's important. So press your left knee down, lift your right hip, your left hip up. So creating that big stretch into the quadricep. And then slowly coming back up. Find your comfortable seat again. Reach your arms up. Elongate your spine. Press your right leg down into the floor and then go forward. So grab wherever you can. You can grab your toes, you can grab your ankle, maybe even higher, whatever works for you. Now make sure that the ball of the big toe doesn't turn towards the inside. So maybe you want, if you're holding onto your foot, maybe you want to press with your thumb on the top of your ball of the big foot, of the big toe of the right side, and then pull your little toe more towards you so that the foot remains perpendicular to the floor. And then you can fold forward a little bit. So with this position, we are definitively stretching the hamstrings, but at a different place. You might feel it differently than the usual hamstring stretches that you might do. So lengthen the spine and then exhale, go forward. Never any pain in the lower back. So that's why we want to keep the spine as straight as possible. And then slowly release, walk your hands back up. We're gonna reach out to the right, so your right hand on the floor. Lift your left leg and bring the left leg forward. Lean over to the left, grab your right ankle, and we're going to the other side. So it's very well possible that you're less balanced on one side than the other. So please use a prop here. Props are there to help us to find more comfort in the pose and to work eventually towards the full pose. And sometimes it's never going to be possible because it's more a structural thing. So that's why props are really important. So from here, the right foot is pointing backwards. So no toes pointing to the side. That's a lot of tension that you create into your knee. Place your hands back and then walk back and come onto your elbows. So we're not going all the way down here. Even if you have that flexibility, we're going to get there in a minute. But for now, we're just staying here. Press your right knee down, push your right hip up. Press your right knee down, push your right hip up. So it's not lifting, it's pushing almost from the groin area. You should feel that in your quadriceps. So when we do a lot of walking, biking, skiing, whatever we do these days, our quadriceps become shorter and strong, which is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, we can't get out of our chair, out of our sofa. But we also need to stretch it from time to time to keep it alive. If we sit all day, our quadriceps becomes very weak, but weak is not stretched. So that's what we're doing here. And then slowly come back up. So find that seat again, maybe adjust, reach your arms up, really reach. Your elbows are straight, your fingers are pointing up to the sky, and then exhale. Reach to your toes. So again, sometimes we pull so much onto the toes or even onto the ankle and we don't pay attention to the toes. So we want the ball of the big toe to move forward and the ball of the little toe to move towards our shoulder. So if you can reach your foot, then you do it with your thumb. So your thumb pushes on the top of the ball of the big toe and your other fingers are rotating your foot. But it's not just, especially if you have flexy feet, you also want to make sure that the heel is aligned. So, and then from here, go forward very gently, See if you can relax at places that you keep tense, and maybe that's going to give you a bit more space. And then slowly coming back up. So let's take the right ankle, bring it forward, separate your feet. So before we move up and in a flow, we want to make sure that our muscles are all warmed up. So this is a good preparation for triangle pose. So from here, toes are pointing up, and it's the same thing. So the ball of the big toe is pointing away from my groin area. My feet are lifting up, my heels are straight down, my kneecaps are lifting up, so we're not falling in or out. Place your fingers in the back, press onto your fingers, maybe lift a little bit and see if you can move forward a little bit. So opening the legs a little bit more. Your legs are not moving, but your hips are moving forward. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, long spine. And this might be enough for you for the inside stretch. So make sure your kneecaps are facing up. If you want to go further, then start to go forward. So watch out with these big muscles of our thighs. We don't want to force it. It's a nice feeling for me to go forward. But I also know that if I go way too far, there is this edge between this feels good and oh no, this feels really bad. So just move slowly, stay connected with the breath. Listen to your breath. Your breath talks for your body. It's the language of the body. So taking a deep breath in, you can reach your arms forward, maybe pull yourself a little bit more back, but the spine is long. So we're staying really seated on the front sitting bones. And then slowly coming back. Place your hands underneath your knees, bend your knees and bring the soles of the feet together. Hands wrapping around your toes. So if this is too far from you and you're totally rounded, a strap can always help. So you would take a strap and place it around where the ball mounts of the toes are, and then you can lift up from here. Otherwise, if you have the space in your hips, you can interlace your hands underneath, roll the shoulders back. So you want to keep your spine straight, your hips are open, and then see if you can press your knees down. So if you're very flexible in the hips, this is probably doing nothing for you. But if you're not that flexible, it's definitely going to feel like you're doing something. And then slowly coming back. So let's go back onto hands and knees. This time, the hands at the front, the toes at the knees a little bit more to the back. Touch your toes, and let's come with the shoulders above the wrist, and then lift your knees, just hovering. And then push yourself back. The knees remain in place. Push yourself back. And then come back, shoulders above the wrists. And one more time, pushing a little bit back. Keep your head now where it is, in between your shoulders, and start to lift your hips up. My knees remain bent for the moment. Press into your thumb and your index. And what we did in the beginning, roll the shoulders out, widening the upper back by bringing the eye of the elbow towards the sky. Inhale, lift your tailbone up. Lift your hips up. So tailbone up is not tailbone towards my shoulder. It's really that lengthening. And then stretch out your right leg. So here, just a small observation. If you feel that by stretching the right leg, you're already starting to bring the pubic bone closer to the belly button, you know that your hamstrings probably need a little bit more work. So when we're in full downward dog, you're going to keep your knees bent. And then change direction, change side, sorry. Lengthen your left leg. And then walk your dog a few times at your rhythm, whatever you need. Maybe you have a little bit too much energy, you need to move faster. Or maybe you want to feel that long stretch in the legs. And then come back onto your tippy toes, lengthen or bend the knees, whatever is appropriate for you. Press into your hands, roll the shoulders out, lift your hips up, and then slowly bring the heels towards the floor. Let's take a breath in and settle into our downward facing dog. So settling doesn't mean falling into it. The pose remains very active. With every inhale, we press from our hands to our hips, and with every exhale, we bring the energy down from the hips towards the heels. Take a breath in and come into plank. Find your plank. So the first time, let's just see if we can find the plank, pressing into the hands, lifting the upper part of your spine, pressing the heels back, tailbone goes towards the heels, and then knees down, chest down, chin down. Inhale for cobra. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back, pubic bone remains on the floor. Exhale down. Tuck your toes and move back into your downward dog. Let's do it with a flow. So inhale, plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Start to feel happy when you find your downward facing dog again. And then let's lift the right leg up. So don't move your hips. We're going to just lift the leg up as high as you can. Press into your arms. Press. Roll the shoulders out. Lift your hips. Lift your right foot up. And then exhale, bring the right foot between your hands. Keep your knee off the floor. And then inhale. Maybe you need to move through your thigh. Otherwise, reach your arms up. Interlace your hands. Exhale. Press your back heel back. Straight back leg. Lots of strength. So as we lift the kneecap, we'll have the impression that the leg comes back to the center. And that's fine. And then see if you can bring the front leg also back to the center, almost as if you're compressing to find a bit more stability here. Inhale, exhale. And then bring the hands in front of your heart, lengthen your spine, and start to twist towards the right. So left elbow comes on the outside of the right knee, right hand on top of the left, lift your right elbow, and then press your left elbow into your right thigh and the right thigh into your elbow. So every inhale again, we want to find length from your heel all the way to the crown of your head, and then start to open up. You can look to the side, you can look up. If you prefer, you can open your arms. One more breath here. And then with your next exhale, bring the hands down, come back into your plank, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. If you need to go into child's pose, you know when your body needs to rest. And then strong feet, strong legs, strong spine. Lift your left leg up. So it's not a swing up. We want to very slowly, with control, observe your hips. Keep your hips parallel to the floor. We're not opening the hips for now. Press into your hands. Lift maybe a little bit higher. And then with your next exhale, bring the left foot in between the hands. Find your position, find your balance. Start to come up, maybe in between, hand on the thigh or on the hips. Eventually, arms come up. So you can interlace, you can keep them away from each other, you can open them up, whatever works for you. Watch out that you don't curve the spine too much. So as you press your right heel back, tuck your tailbone a little bit under if that's a tendency you have. If you already have a flat back, don't force it because then the pubic bone comes up too much. So from here, press back, find the strength into that right leg. Lift your kneecap. If there is space to move, of course, maybe go a little bit deeper. Take a breath in, exhale, bring the hands in front of the heart. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turn towards the left. Right elbow on the outside of the left knee. And then start to press up. Press up. Press your back heel back. Inhale. If you want to open up, open up. You can look up, you can look to the side. One more breath here. And then slowly coming down and back into your plank. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. So again, you can do another throw. You can go into child's pose. You can stay in downward dog and enjoy this pose. And then let's bring the right foot forward and the left and fold forward. So never pain into the lower back. So if you need to bend your knees, drop your head, shake your head out, relax your spine, and every exhale, release a little bit more into the hips. Come onto your fingertips. If you're pretty low, lengthen your spine. If you need a bit more height, place your hands onto your tibia or even onto your thighs. So it depends on how happy your hamstrings are here. Roll the shoulders back, reach your heart forward, push your hips back, lengthen your legs. And then very slowly start to bend your knees. Bring your feet closer to each other. Bend your knees, your belly comes onto your thighs. And then reach your arms up. Press into your feet and come all the way up. And exhale. So we'll continue moving in a moment. We're just going to do a balance pose to check a little bit how we're doing with the balance this morning. So for some people, they like to move to the bare floor to find a little bit more stability. Up to you. If you need a wall, come with your bum towards the wall. Your feet are about a foot from the wall and your fingertips onto the wall, not the whole hand. So stand in your Tadasana. Move a little bit front and back onto your toes. Your feet are a little bit wider than your hips or same height, same width as your hips. It's depending on what feels comfortable for you. Roll the shoulders back. Lengthen your spine. And then bring the hands onto the hips. Bend your knees. So we want to keep weight into the bottom of the toes and into the heel. Bring the weight to the left leg. So test it a little bit. Am I stable? If you're starting to wobble here, maybe rethink about Tadasana, mountain pose. And then you can lift up, open up the hip, open up the knee, and above the ankle comes above the knee. So if you bend your knee a little bit more, you'll find that nook. And then from here, with your hands on your hips, your shoulders above your hips, start to go down a little bit more. If If you want to move further, bring your hands in front of your heart, activate your core. Without the core, we cannot balance. And then from the hip crease, so I'm not rounding my spine, but I want to really move from my hip crease. Start to fold forward. Fold forward. My right foot is flexed to protect my knee. If you want to go further, let your arms go. Bend your knees a little bit more. Bring your hands down. And then at a certain moment, you want to bring the palms, your left heel, my right bicep. I'm forward, otherwise my head is too heavy and I'm going to topple forward. So maybe you can go higher, activating the belly and slowly come. So big opening into the hip, coming back as elegantly as we can, hands in front of the heart, and bring the foot down. And release. And then let's go to the other side. So maybe adjust the width of your feet. Find your Tadasana. So always reconnecting with that base pose, mountain pose. Feeling strong, feeling balanced. Bring the hands onto the hips, bend the knees, weight onto the right leg, and just test it out. Realign your whole body, thinking Tadasana. Lifting the left knee, opening up hip and knee, placing the foot just above the knee, so don't come on the kneecap with your ankle bone, so it's a little bit over on both sides, but don't come here. So it's just at the edge, so we find that nook. Start to bend your right knee. Keep the elbows, keep the shoulders above the hips, hands onto the hips for now. Once you're balanced, bring your hands in front of your heart. And if you want, from the hip crease, start to move forward. So my legs, for the moment, nothing is moving, except maybe I can bend my right knee a little bit more. And then you can go down. If you want, hook your toes behind your right biceps, your left knee behind your left biceps, and then there to move forward, lifting your back heel, maybe moving your foot a little bit so you find a bit more space. And then whenever you're ready, coming back up and release. So coming into your mountain pose. This time, maybe closing the eyes, observing the body. And let's move back to the front of our mat. We're gonna do a little flow with the warriors. So if you need to take more or less breaths with the movements, please do so. I will guide you through the flow with the breath, but you'll just do what you have to do. So come into your mountain pose. Lift the kneecaps off, activate the quads, lengthen in the upper body, roll the shoulder blades down, lengthen the neck, chin is slightly tilted forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, long spine, so hands can be on the tibia or on the thighs or on the floor. Exhale, fold forward. Bring the right leg back for warrior one. So right foot out, hips parallel with the front, and then inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, let's stay here for 2 breaths. So we find our warrior one. Press the outside of the back foot into the floor, push your right hip forward, and there is more weight on the inside of your left foot than on the outside. Inhale, exhale. Inhale up, exhale, bring the arms in the back. Interlace your hands, roll the shoulders back, And then lengthen out, open your chest, move gently back. Exhale, come forward on the inside of your left leg. You can reach your arms up or back, don't drop your shoulders. Strong back leg, so we're not coming into a balance on the front foot. Inhale, exhale. Release your hands, place them in front of your front foot. Lift your back heel, maybe hop a little bit closer, and then lift your right leg up. So straight up. Forward fold on one leg. With your next exhale, big step back and place your right foot for warrior two. So heels are in one line. Windmill your arms up and open your arms. Same thing. Push with the outside of your back foot and the inside of your front foot. Inhale, exhale. I'm just going to turn around. So come maybe a little bit deeper. Press that outside of the back foot. Turn the front palm up. Roll the shoulder open. And then inhale, reach up with your left arm. Exhale, nothing is changing in my legs. Inhale, back up. Exhale, follow your hand with your gaze. Inhale. And then exhaling, bending your elbow, your left elbow, reach your right arm up and over. So don't really hang into your left knee. Find that length from your back heel, right back heel to your right fingertips. If you want to go deeper, you can place your left hand on the floor, but open your chest. You're almost falling back here. And then reach back up into your warrior two. Inhale, lengthen the front leg. Place your left hand into your left hip crease. Reach your right arm up and then start to go into your triangle. So the limit will probably be the inner thigh. Open up your right shoulder, right chest. So turn that whole upper body to the back. And then you can lengthen your left arm, opening up. If you need more support, place your left hand on your left leg, reaching up, looking up, long upper body. So straight spine and then lean back. Don't push your hips forward. So your right hip goes back, your left hip remains where it is, and your left bum maybe comes a little bit forward. And then slowly coming back, bring your hands onto your hips, bend your front knee, turn your left toes forward, so my right toes are already forward. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back, hands into the hip crease, and fold forward. Bring your hands down if you touch the floor. If you don't and you have a block, put your hands on a block. Lengthen your spine. So press your hips back, come onto the outside of your feet, but without moving into your ankles. So your ankles remain very strong here. Roll back, activate the core. And then exhale, let go the upper body, the head. Hang there for a little while. Place the hands down, lift up again. And then heel to the feet a little bit closer. Place your hands onto your hips, roll the shoulders back, and press into your feet and come back up. And now close the feet. So going to the other side, we're going to go back to the front of the mat. Take a deep breath in. Again, finding your mountain pose. Maybe you feel the difference one side to the other. I hope it's a good feeling. We're going to balance that now and make it feeling good on the other side as well. Inhale, reach up. So as you reach up, think about what we did in the beginning to really lengthen our upper body. Press the heels down, lengthen up, and then roll the shoulders down. Take another breath in and then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold forward. Bring the left foot back for warrior one. And inhale with the power of your belly and your back. Reach up, strong legs. Adjust, take the time to adjust your legs. So front foot, the inside is strong. Back foot, the outside presses into the floor. So if you find that your hips are going too much to the side, lift your back heel a little bit, turn your hips and then come back down. And adjust your stance. Sometimes we're a little bit too wide. You can interlace your hands, you can reach your arms up, strong legs, lift your back kneecap. Inhale, exhale. And then exhale, bring the arms in the back, interlace your fingers, keep the elbows bent, you have a little bit more space into the shoulder, open up. And exhale, come to the inside of your right leg. So we're not rounding the spine. We keep our heart reaching forward, strong back leg. And exhale, release the hands, lift your back heel, place the hands ahead of your right foot and lift your left leg up. Forward fold, so see if you can bring an intention to kiss your knee, lift your left leg up. And then with your next exhale, big step back, place your feet for warrior two. So inhale, windmill your arms up. Exhale. Gaze at your front hand. So your right hand, roll the shoulders back, elbows back. Long arms, turn the front palm. As you turn the front palm, the shoulder is opening as well. Continue following your hand with your gaze, lifting up, inhale, exhale, keeping the legs very steady. Inhale, and exhale, and one more. And as you come down, bend the right elbow, place it on your thigh, reach your left arm up and over. So you want to feel that length. So maybe you can sink a little bit deeper. Maybe you want to reach for the floor, reach for a block, maybe not. Reaching over, opening the left shoulder, rotating backwards. And then inhale, reach back up into warrior two. Inhale, lengthen the right leg. Exhale, right hand into your right hip crease. Lift the left arm. Press your left hip back. So as we press back, we're moving forward with our spine. Reach your right arm, your left arm up. Continue reaching up. And then roll that left shoulder, that left chest, the left side towards the back. The right bum rolls forward. The left hip rolls back. Create length into your upper body and then maybe elongate the right arm down. So one straight line, creating length between your fingertips, both sides. Maybe you want to place your hands onto your leg as a support. And then very slowly coming back up. Exhale, warrior two. Bring the toes back to the front. And now heel toe your feet a little bit closer. Keep the toes pointing out to your wider than the hips. Roll the shoulders back and bring the arms forward. So it's not reaching the arms forward, it's keeping the shoulders rolling back. And then very slowly start to bend your knees. So your knees are going towards your toes. You don't want to create any twist again in those knees and come all the way down. If you're very flexible in ankles and knees and everything goes well here, eventually you'll have your feet pointing forward. For now, bring your hands together, elongate your arms, and then start with straight arms. Start to press on the inside of your knees. Lengthen your spine. Lengthen your spine. If this is not comfortable or if you're falling, you can always sit on something. We are opening the knees and then place the palms together. Maybe give it a little extra push. And then release. Bring your hands in the back and come and sit down. So separate your feet now wider than your hips, a big step wider. Your hands are in the back. Keep your spine straight if possible. And then we're gonna move the knees towards the right. So the left knee comes behind the right heel. And then turn the left shoulder towards the back. So creating a twist and an opening in the outer hip. So if your right hip or your left hip doesn't touch down, don't force it now. We're at the end, we're starting to slow down. And then coming back up. And then going to the other side. So let your knees drop first and then move your right shoulder back. You can move your left shoulder forward if you want to create extra twist. And then let's just keep the shoulders in the middle and just move the knees from side to side, just loosening in the hips. So don't push, just let it be. And then coming back to center. So when we do a lot of downward dog and planks and everything, we need to a little bit compensate into the shoulders. So we're gonna do that now. Do a reverse stretch, reverse tabletop. So your fingers are pointing forward, your hands are a little bit behind your shoulders, your knees are bent, and your feet flat on the floor, all as wide as your hips. Roll the shoulders back, lift your chest, and press into your hands, press into your feet, and lift your hips up. Should give you a big stretch into the shoulders. Stay here for 2 or 3 breaths. And if you want to go to the next step, you can elongate your legs. Do the same thing and then lift up. So a little bit more work into the core. It's really depending what you're looking for now. The main thing is the stretch into the front of our shoulders. So lift up, lift up, lift up. And then slowly coming down. Hug your knees and one vertical. So you really, here we really want to roll our spine. So start by rounding the spine. Keep your hands onto your knees and see how far you can go. Maybe you have to move your hands behind your thighs if you don't want to roll back. Otherwise, just roll back. And then bring your knees into your chest. Few breaths here. Bring your right leg over your left. So really as if you're sitting into a chair and your knees are at the center of your chest. See if you can grab your right foot with your left hand and your left foot with your right hand without forcing onto your knees. Flex your feet and bring the knees closer towards your chest. Keep your head on the floor. So you can pull onto the ankles. Just be aware of your knees. So you don't want to have any sensation into your knee. And then slowly release. Change your knees. So left knee over right. Grab your ankles. Might be very different and it's really depending on your hip construction. And then pull it in. So our upper body is pretty relaxed. We're just pulling with the arms here. And then slowly release. So one more for the hips here. Separate your knees, separate your feet. Grab the inside of your feet. Place your thumb on the opposite side of the ball mount of your big toe. So same as we did before when we want to have the feet really parallel with the floor. So the ball mount of your big toe is reaching towards the sky and your little toe is more reaching towards the floor. And then you can start to pull onto your feet, bring the hips down, Bring the knees down. So don't start to round your spine. Try to keep it as long as possible. Maybe you want to move your legs a little bit here. It's up to you. Just be mindful of your knees. So don't start to make any twists. And then from here, bring the soles of the feet together. Grab your ankles and pull the feet as close as possible to your groin area. And then come down with the feet. So the outside of your feet is coming down. The knees are open. Place your hands on your inner thighs. Press to the left, press to the right. So we're rolling on our lower back. We're loosening the lower spine here. And then coming back to center. Hands on the outside of your legs. Press your legs together. Lengthen out your left leg towards the left corner of your mat, but don't place your left leg down yet. Your foot is flexed. Do the same thing with your right leg. So active in the core, active in the core. Take a deep breath in, flex your feet, and then drop your ankles down. Release, release your belly, release your hips. Feet are still flexed, pointing up. Now press your feet out. So your toes are going to point out. Your feet are flexed. We're going to open into the hips. So again, a little work here and then release. Place your hands behind your head. Lift your head up. So interlace your hands. Pull the skin of your skull away from you and then place your head down. So you have to be able to breathe easily. And then maybe you want to roll your left shoulder under a little bit, your right shoulder under a little bit, and then wiggle yourself to a comfortable pose so that your chest is open. Arms about 45 degrees out, so not in a T, not glued to your body. And then take a few breaths in and out. Exhaling through the mouth, letting go. Observing where the back body touches the floor. Maybe observing the sensation tinkling from our practice. Slowly letting go the back body onto the floor. So finding that balance between letting go and the support of the floor. That space in between. Relaxing the face, so the forehead, the eyelids, the ears, the nose, the lips, the jaw, and the tongue heavy in the mouth. Releasing the shoulders, the belly and the chest. And since your practice is at home, you can stay here as long as you want, as you need, as you can. Shavasana is the digestion of your practice. That's where the real work begins. When you decide to go out, you're first going to reconnect with the breath and then reconnect your outer body with the space around you, and then moving a little bit gently, slowly. If it's the start of your day, you might want to give yourself a big stretch by lengthening the legs, lengthening the arms overhead with an inhale. And then very slowly, right arm under the head, rolling over, but just stay. If you have the chance to be able to stay. coming into a comfortable seated position. And then bringing the hands in front of your heart, whether it's one palm on top of each other, on top of the heart, or in prayer pose, whatever suits you. Tuck the chin in a little bit. Thank you for sharing your practice, for your energy and your time. Namaste.